Namaskar. We studied about soul in the last lecture, and we know that every life has soul. But if you look around, you find that there are human beings, there are some souls who are in the animal form, still another category, trees, plants, and you find the microorganisms, bacteria, etc. So the souls exist in different forms. Why? Even if you look at human beings, each individual is different person. There are no two persons who are similar. Even if you look at the life of a single individual, you find that sometimes he is in pain, sometimes he experiences pleasure, sometimes he is happy, sometimes he is not unhappy. So there are so many variations in the life of a single individual. Why? The answer is karma. It is the karma which makes a difference, which makes souls to exist in different forms, and which makes a single individual to have different kind of experiences. So it is all due to karma. So diversity in terms of species, diversities in terms of types of persons, diversity in the form of experiences and so on. What is karma? That is the fundamental question. Now we start with the concept of soul. Soul is doer. Soul can act through body, through mind, through words. So there are different kinds of actions which are possible in the case of a soul. And what happens when the soul is engaged in these actions? In fact, the impression of these actions is made in the soul. Whatever the soul is doing, whatever way it is acting, there is a record kept in the soul itself of every action. So an impression is made in the soul. That is karma. But that is about the soul. So you must be clear that karma is not action. Karma is impression of action. So in normal words you say kriya. Kriya is not karma. Kriya is action. And the record which is kept of this particular action or impression which is made on the soul is karma. And the karma has been existing with the soul right from beginningless time. The soul has never been without karma. So these records are there with the soul. This information is there with the soul right from beginningless time. And so therefore the soul has records of all activities which a soul has done in various lives in the past. This is a very amazing thing, that soul knows everything which the soul has done in the past. All lives. We have had infinite number of lives so far, and the information of activities of every life is present in the soul. This is karma. And what does this karma do? It inhabits the expression of the powers of the soul. So in a way, these impressions which are made in the soul work as cloud, as I told you in the last lecture. They work as a cloud. They shroud the powers of the soul. They shield the powers of the soul. And therefore, the fundamental powers of the soul, which in a pure soul, we know it is infinite jnana, infinite perception, infinite bliss or perfect bliss, and infinite spiritual powers. These are the real powers of the soul, and they are never expressed because the soul is defiled with karma. Now, this is one thing, regarding soul, but at the same time there is a record kept in the physical form. What happens is that there is a subtle body called Karman body which is attached to the soul, and this Karman body keeps the records in the physical form. How the karmas are coming, how the impressions are made, what happens when the soul is doing some kind of activity, whether physically, mentally or verbally, there is kind of vibrations in the soul, and these vibrations in the soul produce similar or a kind of vibrations in the Karman body which I said is attached to the soul, which is the Karman body is in the subtle form, and these vibrations in the Karman body attract subtle matter from cosmos. So this subtle matter is present in the form of Karman Vargana. So the Karman Varganas are attracted by vibrations in the Karman body, and these incoming Karman Vargana, or the subtle matter, then carries the impression of the particular activity which is responsible for influx of these karmas. So that way a record is kept in the physical form in our system. So there we have a Karman body, and this Karman body contains the physical records of even of the past lives and of all the actions and activities which we have done in this life. So there is up-to-date record maintained in the Karman body, and these subtle meta Karman Varganas which are incoming are then bound to the Karman body which is already existing. So every time when you are doing, because we are doing one or another kind of activity always, so there is a continuous flow of Karman Varganas or subtle matter. They come in, they carry the impression of the activities being performed, and they bind with the existing Karman Vargana. So there is a continuous bondage of karma with the Karman body. This is a regular feature. So the bonded karma contains the information of the action which is performed. This is one type of body we have. Jiva also has another body which is called as a Tejas body or Tejas Sharir, and this is a kind of electric body as per Jain texts are concerned. And these two bodies, that is the Karman body and the Tejas body, are always attached to the soul, in the sense that if the soul leaves this body and takes birth in another body, then these two bodies will be migrating along with the soul. So they are always attached to the soul. So the soul enters the next body, means the Karman body is going to the next body, and Tejas body is also going to the next body, and therefore the entire information which is present in the Karman body and in the soul is being carried forward from one life to another. So that way there is a continuity of information. The information flows from one life to another and the next life and so on. So soul always knows what has done in the past, and there is a record, So there is, we cannot say that if a soul takes a new birth, means there is a new beginning. No, there is no new beginning, It is a continuity of existence. So as I said, the Karman body will carry forward all the information of this life as well as the past lives, and a continuity in the existence is maintained. The activities I said are performed either mentally, physically or verbally, and I have already explained that these incoming subtle matter Karman Varganas bond with the existing Karman body. This inflow of subtle matter inside the carbon body is bonded to the carbon body because of our passions like krodh, man, maya, lobh, anger, ego, deceitfulness, and greed. These are the main kashaya, or what we call as the passions. And because of these properties or these attributes which we all have, there is a bondage between the incoming carbon vargana and the existing carbon body. So this karma now then have different kind of features we must know. There are 4 features of this karma which is bond with the soul. One is prakriti. Means, as I said earlier, the karma is shrouding or shielding the properties of the soul. What property is being shielded by this particular karma which is bonding at this moment? No, that is prakriti. So prakriti of the karma is the type of quality or the type of property the karma is shielding the property of the soul. This is known as a prakriti type, and there are 8 particular kinds of karma which shield 8 different kinds of qualities of the soul. This we will take little later, but first let us discuss about the other features. Another is pradesh. Pradesh quote is called as pradesh bandh. Means, the amount of subtle carbon vargana or amount of subtle matter which is bonding with the carbon body at any particular instant. That is pradesh. Another feature is sthiti. How long this karma will remain with the soul. So the particular karma which is bonding with the soul remains for a certain duration, which is known as a sthiti. And this is decided at the time of bonding itself. It can remain for an hour or a year or one full lifetime or even many lifetimes, So the duration can be anything. I give an example here so that you understand this very clearly. It is said that Ram killed Bali, and he killed in a kind of cheating manner, that he was hiding behind a cover so that the Bali could not see Ram, and then Ram killed Bali. This is the history. And this another event, which occurred in the life of Krishna. So in the life of Krishna, at the fag end of his life, a bird hunter killed Krishna with an arrow. He activated the arrow, an arrow just hit the Krishna, and that was by mistake. The bird hunter did not want to kill Krishna or any human being. He was a bird hunter. He thought it was a bird, and therefore he did this act. But when he found that a human being has been hit, he was very sorry. He went to him and said that, look here, I didn't want to kill you, and I am very, very sorry. The Krishna said, no, it's not none of your fault, I killed you in that life, you were Bali and I was Ram, and I killed you. So now you are killing me. This event explains 2 things. Number 1, that you are sure to experience the fruits of the karma which you bond. So you always will have the consequences of the karma which you bond. Number 1. Number 2, duration. You look here, the time difference between the birth of Ram and birth of Krishna, it is something like 2000 years. So the karma which was born at a time, you get the fruits after 2000 years. So the the thing I want to explain you is this, that you can experience the fruits of karma in this life or next life or after many lives, but you are sure to do it. This is sthiti. And what happens, when the karma is bound for a certain duration, it remains inactive for some time, certain duration, and thereafter the karma becomes active. And when the karma becomes active, then only you experience its fruits. In the inactive state, the karma doesn't give any fruit to the soul, so it has no effect on the soul. So this is the kind of explanation we have. Then the third feature is anubhag. Anubhag is what kind of experience you will have when the karma comes in fruition, the karma arises, the karma becomes active. What kind of experience, what intensity of experience you will have is known as anubhag. Well, I explained all the four features. Then the type of karma. What kind of experience you will have when the karma gets fruition? So there is a concept of punya and papa. You have good activities in your life and you bond good karma. And if you have bad activities or you are indulging in bad activities, you bind bad karma. So this is known as a punya and papa. Punya is good karma in the sense that when it comes in fruition, when it rises, when it becomes active, the soul will experience pleasure, some kind of pleasure or some kind of happiness. And when the papa comes in fruition, the soul will experience pain, unhappiness, and so on. So the karma is broadly divided into groups, punya and papa, two categories. Punya is due to good activities and papa is due to bad activities, and they have a corresponding type of experiences when the karma comes in fruition. So this is, we have an inbuilt system, that if you do something good, you will have good experiences. If you do something bad, you will have bad results, of course in due course of time. Then I said, in the case of Prakriti, I said there are 8 types of karma which shield 8 different qualities of the soul. One is Jnanavarniya karma. This inhabits or shrouds the infinite jnana property of the soul. So we don't experience infinite jnana because of Jnanavarniya karma. So long as this karma is there, we will never experience the infinite jnana. Then Darshanavarniya karma, it hides or it shrouds the perception ability of the soul. The soul has infinite perception, but we don't have that, and that infinite perception is shrouded or shielded by Darshanavarniya karma. Then there is Antaraya karma. The soul has infinite spiritual power. It can act in many ways and perfect ways. The Antaraya karma shields this particular property of the soul, so the soul activities are limited. Particularly, we are not able to carry out the activities which will give us success in life. The success itself is inhibited in life because of Antaraya karma. Then there is a Mohaniya karma. Mohani karma creates a kind of delusion in the soul so that the soul does not know the reality. This is the biggest hindrance. The soul sometimes do not identify as a soul itself. So the person will refuse and he say, no, I have no soul. This is because of Mohani karma. It creates a kind of delusion so that the person or the soul is illusioned, and does not know the reality, does not recognize the reality. And this is the biggest hindrance in the spiritual progress of the soul. Then there is a Ayu karma. and this karma determines the form of next life and the duration of the next life. For example, we exist in human form now. That means in the last life we bond ayu karma. Because of that we are now in the human form, and that time the span of life was also decided, how much long, how many years of life we'll have in this form was also decided in the last life. And in this life we bond ayu karma that will decide the form of the next life we will have and the lifespan of that form. Then there is a nam karma. Nam karma determines the structure of the body in this form. So the human body which I have now, this body has been formed in this way because of the nam karma. So it is always like a biology, as we have in biology, the system how the body is formed and so on, with the help of genes, DNA and so on. Similarly, Jain system defines nam karma, that is responsible for the structure, construction of a particular kind of body. Then there is gotra karma. This gotra karma decides in what kind of family you will take birth, that is the status of your body when you are born. Whether it's a high status or a low status. Of course, this has been said in terms of family, but it's the status of your body and your form of body and what the body can do and so on. Gotra karma. Then the last one is Vedaniya karma. This Vedaniya karma decides the pain and pleasure we experience, happiness and unhappiness which we experience. The Vedan means, sensing kind of things, whether we will sense pleasure or pain and so on. So we have this way 8 different kinds of karma, and these karma again have subtypes, there are subclasses of karma. Some of them we will study in the next lecture, but we can't go into all the details of subdivisions of these 8 kinds of karma. That will take a lot of time, but in our course this is not possible. The only thing which I like to say now is that the first 4 kinds of karma, that is Jnanavarani, Darshanavani, Antaraya and Mohani, these are called Ghatiya or Ghati karma, in the sense that these 4 types of karma destroy the fundamental nature of the soul. And what is the fundamental nature of the soul? As I said, the soul has infinite jnana, infinite perception, infinite spiritual power and perfect bliss. All these 4 properties are inhibited, and because they destroy the fundamental quality or fundamental nature of the soul, we call this group of karma as Ghatiya karma. So these are Ghatiya karmas. And the last 4, that is the Nam karma, Gotra karma, Vedini karma, Ayu karma, they are called Aghatiya karma. These karmas only, what they do, they keep the soul embodied, they keep the soul in a body form, but they do not inhabit those fundamental properties of the soul. That is, if there is a state where you have destroyed all the Ghatiya karma, how the karmas are destroyed, they will consider in the next lecture or later lectures. But for the time being, assume that we are able to destroy or remove these karmas. So, okay, so if you are able to destroy the Ghatiya karma, then what remains is only a Ghatiya karma, that is, the soul is in the form of a body, but in this state the soul can experience all the infinite properties. It can experience infinite jnana, it can experience infinite perception, it is in the state of perfect bliss, and it is enjoys infinite spiritual powers. This kind of state of the soul is known as Arihant or Keval Jnani. So a person who is Arihant or Keval Jnani will experience all the natural properties of the soul remaining in a body. That is, he is in a human form and experiencing such qualities, And the entire Jain philosophy about which we are talking has been preached by such a person who is omniscient, who is a Keval Jnani, who is a Arihant, and who is a Tirthankar. Tirthankar means who teaches the religion. So Tirthankar is also a Arihant, and he teaches the religion, and he is in a state of Keval Jnana. He knows everything. He has infinite Jnana, infinite perception. He knows perfect truth. Then he preaches, and the things which I am telling you are because of such a Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir, So I just now I have described you what karmas are and how many karmas are there. In the next lecture, then I will tell you how these different kinds of karmas are bound. Is the karma everything? Is the karma decides our destiny, or there is something else? We will discuss these things in the next lecture. Thank you.